Hey, it's a new episode right here with Devil Flyer. It's Wednesday. It's Rex. What's going on, brother?
Man, I've had a day of it. As you know, I was on Sugar Chris earlier today, so that it was just like, can you come on tomorrow? Sure, and I had you scheduled ahead of time. Hey, Shadowhawk. Shadowhawk is my co-host on my show, the 4 o'clock Shadow.
Oh, yeah.
Has been from the very beginning, and we're on. Oh gosh, I don't even know how many episodes now. 460 something. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but it accumulates. When you when you stream every day.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
doing that for a while, and then I got a girlfriend. So,
Yeah, leads to burnout. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Or you
And
have to limit your time that you stream. It can be addictive, I suppose.
yeah, I was getting burnt out because I was doing like sometimes I was like doing like two like back to back streams like on a
Yeah.
Wednesday, and I'm like,
Yeah. That makes for a
oh,
long day.
yeah.
Yeah. That makes for a long day.
And just in
Well,
case, because I remember prior conversations we've had, uh, over on Shay's channel during the regen things, I'm gonna
oh
pop
yeah.
this up just in case, because
Well, you'll have to explain that to me. I'm a boomer.
uh, I'm a Gen X. That's
Well,
NSF.
I'm a Gen X too. I'm a first year Gen X, 1965. But
Uh,
I'm not when it comes to technological or these memes or internet speak. I'm a boomer.
yeah, NSFW is not safe for work. In other words,
Oh,
there could
okay,
there could be some adulting content in words.
yeah, okay. Forewarned is forearmed.
My wife, I'm married, and my wife has heard all my stories. She likes when I stream. It's almost as bad as when you sit next to her trying to watch the game on the couch and she's scrolling through watching TikTok.
Yeah. Oh boy. I hope they do away with that. But
No, because the bill they have up for it is just giving the government 100% overreach over every platform on the planet, and it'll let
yeah.
them rush into the Great Reset quicker.
Well, Will, you and I are old enough to remember America that wasn't that bad or self-conscious about itself. So,
Yep.
we know what the definition of patriotism is, and it's not white privilege, it's not colonization, it's not any of this woke agenda that they're trying to push on us. And that's the thing about it; they don't give you an option if you have a different point of view, which used to be lauded in America, uh, then you are the enemy and they're out to crush you. You must conform. It's groupthink, it's hive mentality.
I will not comply.
I will not comply. That's right. And they're overreaching, and I hope they overreach that they just fall out of the tree so much.
Because there's so much stuff in that bill. Because we know Congress, whatever they
Yeah.
name the bill isn't what the bill's about.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's all a shell game.
Yeah,
It's
there's like there's all kinds of stuff in there,
right.
making it so,
That
and it'll because they're in power right now for another 2 years, so to make it so
yeah.
that they could go in to the new Elon Musk's Twitter and like ban everybody that they deem a problem,
Undesirable.
the undesirables.
Yeah, the undesirables. That's
But
really a
they'll
scary
do that.
term.
Yeah, they'll do that from every single platform.
Yeah.
They'll have complete control over any platform on
Yeah.
the internet.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I'm
I
like,
mean, they've
no.
wanted to take over the internet. They know it is the most powerful thing out there as far as communication. Shows like this, you don't really own your own channel, your own platform, and you have to kind of play by their rules.
Uh-huh.
Uh, I've been banned off YouTube for saying something about the past presidential election for a week. So there are certain things that that are verboten to say on even YouTube.
Oh yeah.
So you have to be very careful. Next time I'm hit by them, and the first thing was just a violation of terms, and I actually hit the button by accident. Uh, I didn't really get to appeal it. I just appealed it without any comment, and that didn't get me anywhere. So next time I'm struck off for 3 months. During that week, we did do the 4 o'clock shadow over on Shadowhawk, the greatest co-host on YouTube, I think. I'm very fortunate to have him as a friend and as a co-host. And he started out listening to me, just showing my collectibles on the way home, commuting from work. He would have to commute for about an hour or so, and he would listen to my show. So, Shadowhawks supported, about 360 something CG projects. Just a big supporter of CG, always has been. In fact, that's the only comics he collects now is CG comic books. And now we have Fund My Comic. In fact, he's working on his own secret project. We were talking about that a little bit earlier before the show.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's secretly in the shadows, as it were, working on his project, and it'll be worth it when it comes out. It's CG related, tied into the lore of CG. Not to give away too much, but that I think it'll be a lot of fun for people who's been around for a while and seen all the things that have happened in CG, and it won't be a cash grab. It'll be a Shadowhawk production. So it'll be interesting. I'll be glad to see him get a project out there. And I was very pleased. You can't, this preview ASHCAN that I came out with, Will, was the very first comic that I've done. And it's, for the most part, it's fulfilled. Everyone has their copy. What they paid for, fulfilled it all by myself in about a week. I've been on eBay for about 20 years, so I know how to wrap up and send stuff safely and get it out. And I just dedicated that week to doing that, and got the people their stuff out. So Devil Flyer #1 will be launching April 30th on Go Fund My Comic. I noticed you had a opener for them.
Oh yeah.
On with Luke Stone last night, maybe? Yeah, last night. Before I went on Topicless, and was on there with Todd, who started. They did it together, did they not? Do I have his name?
Yeah.
Right? Todd.
Yeah, Todd.
Yeah, Todd, and Piper was on there. And I've met Piper before, but I've not met Todd. And I've met Luke before and had him on my show, and we've talked extensively about Go Fund My Comic, and I'm sold on it. I mean, it's a new platform. I don't think it's untested by any means. Been running for a little over three weeks, and it's paying for itself.
Yep.
I know Dillard's campaign, Canadian, the Buckler Canadian Tussle, has done over $1,000, which has been the most successful campaign so far. But I think that'll be eclipsed in time, and I hope Devil Flyer will be the project that does it. So I'm excited about that. But it is a thrill to finally have an avenue for distribution directly to the fans, directly to the readers, if it were,
Mm-hmm.
and to have a vehicle to be able to distribute, through crowdfunding. So thanks to EVS and Ethan, and seeing him stream about Cyberfrog and other things. And I remember the first time I saw Cecil go on his show, I was like, who's this guy? This is like nothing I've ever seen Ethan. I saw a different side of Ethan I had not seen before when he had Cecil on. And, I'm like, wow, learning the lore I was a lurker for about 8 months, I think, about a year
Hmm.
before I ever chimed in. Now, Shadowhawk was a lurker for like, I think he said 2 or 3 years before he ever became active in the chat. So you really don't ever know who's watching. I'm sure probably EVS has watched my show, yet he's never chimed in. He's never come in. Um, I don't see how he couldn't have caught at least some part of a show because I'm streaming every day. It may
Hmm.
be an inconvenient time, but surely, um, he has highlighted a comment of mine or two. Not that he would remember, but I'll be eternally grateful for him and Zach and other people that got this rolling, you know, and finally having a way to distribute your product to somebody. I've always wanted to make a comic book. Um, Once set that goal, I talked to a friend and we went back and forth about story ideas, and he had already uh, uh, said that he would do Devil Flyer. So eventually, after 8 months of pitching him different ideas, I said, "Well, you said you do Devil Flyer. Would you still do that?" And yeah, so it took him a little bit over a year. He did he did it to scale. That's the amazing thing about it. When you see the artwork blown up in magazine size, of course, we're going to talk about the ASHCAN, but which is smaller, but that's the size I envisioned for it. And so Devil Flyer #1 will be magazine size. And I have some 2-page spreads in there, at least in the Devil Flyer story, which is 29 pages total. In the ASHCAN, you get the first 7 pages, I believe,
Hmm.
the story, and I leave on a cliffhanger. And everybody who's received it I haven't seen any reviews, but they seem to be happy with the product, happy with the quality of things. You not only get the book, 24-page ash can, all black and white. Uh, uh, you get about 17 ish, maybe 17 characters that make their first cameo appearances in the book. And it is the first book that has interior story by Devil Flyer in it. But it is not by any means the first cover that he's been on. That was in another Indiegogo project from Starcross Comics. And this is a 1.5 numbered issue. And it's an homage to Avengers #181, the first appearance of Scott Lang,
Hey, I got that book.
Ant-Man. Yeah, I bought it off the stands for 35 cents, but now I paid about $56 for this high grade copy because it's first Scott Lang Ant-Man, and he's been in the movies recently. Well, here's the Tribulation Task Force that was up on Indiegogo, and they had a unique thing. I'd like to try this at one time, maybe not with Devil Flyer #1, but maybe a later one where you can get your own do an homage cover or something with a lot of characters on it. This has public domain characters on it too. You have Catman and Kitten down here at the bottom, Man of War, and right next to Devil Flyer is the Blue Beetle. Although they call him like the Blue Scarab, I think, because you
Yeah.
can't use the Blue Beetle name. But uh, so the
Oh
colorist
yeah,
kind of,
Dan Garrett, the original.
I couldn't tell you the artist. So they had 3 spots here. This character looking like Gilgamesh, that's like this, which is Hercules on the original. Um, I think that was a spot that was available, and that was already bought and taken. So they had 2 spots here in the back, and I bought those to get these characters on the cover. And so you have Devil Flyer there with a different color job. His wings are green because it's kind of like Spawn green energy. And then you have Hopper here, which controls cold and heat. He's kind of like a tree frog that leaps around, tree frog, alien looking character. And I think out of all those characters, they hold their own. I think they're 2 of
That's
the
kind of
more
cool.
visually interesting characters. So this is the first time that Devil Flyer got on a comic, and it was an Indiegogo project. But now the ASHCAN is out and available. $10 plus 7 to ship. It's 24 pages. It is Tweeka approved. I did not create the character, but that is a drawing done by me years ago. And this is on one of the trading cards. It comes with 2 trading cards. Of course, the cover here, a cover done by my friend John. We've been friends, and he's the artist on Devil Flyer, the 29-page story. But it's 6 stories. It's an anthology. I'm not just doing. They're single standalone stories, but it really is a. So there's promo card number 1, rounded edges on that. The promo cards will have rounded edges, and the trading cards on Devil Flyer number 1 will be square. And then the back of the cover with the Momentum Comics logo. And then there's that again. That's on the back cover. Same back there on the back. And it comes with 3 bookmarks, 3 different bookmarks. I have a swamp character called Bog that I was my choice to. That was my choice to. There we go. Fan them out where you can kind of see them. Cool. That's some of my artwork of Bog. He has different looks, you know.
Always been a fan of the swamp characters.
You have been?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you'll like him. I have let's say 14-page story, which is told in 2 stories. By Doc Blaylock. You had Doc Blaylock on, I think, last week.
Yeah, last week.
Yeah, and he's done a 9-page story for me, and he's doing 6 pages now, so it'll be 6 pages. So there's the magnets that come with it.
Nice.
And
I'm actually in Doc's book.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were talking about that.
Next issue, second issue. Now, I'm going to be in.
Apex did me a sketch card, and this is going to be. I'll ink this. This is just. Nice. Like a sketch card. This is my Sea Demon character. And I'll show you Sea Demon here. He's another character in there. I had 3 hero stories and 3 horror stories. So there'll be 6 issues. And then in issue 2, there'll be 5. Issue 3, there'll be 4, 2, 1 will be issue 6. So it's coming to a climax. It's an overarching story because I'm building a universe. And basically, to fight a greater evil, he's collecting all these heroes into a super team to battle that. So eventually it'll be like Marvel or DC, have a universe all its own with a multitude of characters.
Oh, yeah.
I've been a comic book collector since about 1976 on a regular basis. And it was like George Perez in Avengers that got me hooked, really. I've been working on a mini comic. And I've done a couple years of scratch art.
Oh, I like that.
This is another character that will be in the book 3 times in 3 different stories. This is sort of, think of Venom Ghost, like a Venom type Wraith character.
Yeah.
And he's in 3 stories. Second Skin, Crawl Space, which is the name of the supplement book. Devil Flyer number 1 will be 64 pages, but it will be broken up into 2 books. It'll have the 3 hero stories drawn by John Falandes, my neighbor. Diller Draws does a 2-page Interman introduction to him, and then there'll be a Sea Demon story, and that's to be yet announced. Who will be doing the artwork on that? But now Grave Tales is totally done, 9 pages. That was finished last year. Here's a little preview of that. May make a Grave Tales logo. I know we're going to do a Sea Demon logo magnet from John's logo. We may do a Grave Tales as well. I've been requested to do that. This is a copy here of the original artwork. This character goes all the way back to 1993. That's when this watercolor was done.
Oh wow.
And this sold, the original here sold in auction recently to Flying Feline. Uh, and she got the books, the 3 Alterna books. Last year I did a camp. I put in 6 ads and 5 books in the Alterna books, and Sea Demon was one of them. Frankly, because he's going to be in the book, and it was in color. I was limited at that time on color pieces. Most of the pieces I do, I leave in black and white, like this one. This is another character that is yet to be introduced. Um, this is Dust Devil. So, and he is in like a 1930s group called the Skull Squad, and all the characters have like skull-like faces, different variations on a theme there, but vastly different powers and stuff like that. Now, the back cover to the ASHCAN, the second printing of the ASHCAN is done by Vic King, and I couldn't fit everything in the ASHCAN, the 24-page ASHCAN. So on the second printing that's coming up, I will have a color cover, back cover. This will be the back cover done by Vic King. Couldn't fit the Killer Clown. That's the character that is in the Doc Blaylock's drawn story of Grave Tales. I'll show you a couple pages from that. Just copies I have here. This character, we discussed it, and he's like, "Do you have any serial killers characters?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And I had a painting, because I often go by paintings like this one. This one is going to be a character called Voodoo Master. So I'm more of a painter, but sometimes things like this lead to new characters.
Mm-hmm.
But this is Clown Killer. He killed the good clown and assumed his identity and started preying on the children. So the story is a lot about him, but in the end, you get to see the hero. I'll show you a page here where he's taking it to the clown. And these are all traditional artwork done by Doc. So, we hit it off good because, Pariah Blood and Mud, he has a golem.
Yep.
He knocked it out of the park. Took a couple months out from even doing Pariah Blood and Mud and to work on this project. And it wound up at 9 pages. And he's working on another additional 6 pages. That'll be kind of a second part to this story, or maybe even the first part to this story. They're all interlinked. They're standalone stories. And we're doing something interesting on the coloring of that one. The coloring helps tell the stories, and that's all. I don't want to give it away. One thing I designed out last night, and I'll be designing out others. I do, like I say, the scratch art. I'll be doing for the campaign. I'll be doing an air freshener, a bog air freshener.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's the first one I did there, and I'll be working on some others, and I'll pick from the best. But yeah, I just took old air freshener, and they'll be cellophane sealed, with the little hangy thing on there, and be scented. And it is something flat that can scent. Since it's going to be a magazine size, which was not planned by any means. So I went from one extreme to the other. I went from the ASHCAN size, which is, smaller than a regular comic book, to
Hey, Luke.
to magazine size.
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
Luke.
I like the magazine size.
The magazine size is going to be dope because this here is a proof. There's nothing on the back of this one. There's no dedication page and stuff, but you can see it's going to lay flat. ain't going to be big, kind of like your Savage Sword of Conan's were, Rampaging Hulks.
Yep.
This is going to be a trading card on the campaign done by John Flanders, my neighbor. This was the first Vic King piece that he did for me back early, probably March of last year,
Nice.
maybe February. I think I've been working since late February. Uh, I started the story. It took me about 8 hours to write the 29-page Devil Flyer story, and then I got it to John. But now the way I work, I work out storyboards, thumbnails, and then go from there. So I like it from the get go. It's called a Devil's Weapon. He's bound up in chains and sinking. So hopefully, you're immediately into the story. Um, and then I started with that image, and then I went bam to a Kirby double page spread, a good look at the hero over Chicago.
Oh, nice.
So this is going to be really impressive, and it's more impressive to me if you know the story. He worked, he did the artwork this size. He did it comic book size, and the one reason he did it, drew so small, was to make sure that we would have no problem at the printers. So when you blow it up to this size, and I saw this mock-up, I said, this is the grand scale I want the feel for the book to have. And with magazine size, you're not going to have any problem with it laying flat. So you get the first uh, 7 pages of story here, leaves on a cliffhanger here, as you'll see here. So he's going into action, and this guy who's in the speeding car gets skewered by his trident, and they're saying blast him, and you can see some of the other scene on the trailer of Devil Flyer, but then it goes into the pinup section, and the rest is pinup cameos of characters. I did get, besides Tweeka on the back, I got Bog here. I did this headpiece of Bog years ago, and I used it. And then here's an acrylic painting that Doc Blaylock did for me in the campaign, and that'll be
Nice.
up for sale on the campaign, launching April 30th. You get a preview. You get a preview of the wraparound cover done by Vic King, and that has the heroes squaring off against the bad guys that'll be in the book. And then in the ash can, I'm showing you this because it's bigger, but in the ash can, it has them all named. Like here, you can see we've got coming soon on the cover, and then all the other characters are named in here. Sweet Baby, Silver Boa. There's 2 Silver Boas. There's one that's set in the 30s, along with Lady of the Night here, who is
Mm-hmm.
based after Ava Gardner.
Oh, I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the resemblance there. Uh, there by her bottle of whiskey or bourbon, and the bystander here. He's kind of my watcher character. He plays into the origin of Bog, and there's Silver Boa, modern day Silver Boa, which is a descendant of the what I call the retro Silver Boa, and they have slightly different costumes. We have Storm Rider and Slaver. I put Slaver in there because I wanted people to see that I could do a badass looking character, and not just all capes and cows and your regular superhero fare. I design all the characters, and this is my homage to Action Comics #1, where he's picking up the car above him.
Oh, yeah.
So it's out. It's available. I have 9 copies left. 9 copies of this, and I probably could give all those away, frankly. But what I'm going to do on the campaign, Devil Flyer #1, well, the ASHCAN. Let's put this on the ASHCAN. on the second printing that's going to go up, I'm making a mini comic, and that'll be free with the ASHCAN. Plus, you'll get all the original tchotchkes with it, I think, or we'll make some new ones. Probably make a couple of new trading cards for it, and I'll probably throw in some of the tchotchkes that I have free left over. One thing I'm going to do is character sheets, like this Wild Dog DC character sheet. And then we'll have a hero on the front and a villain on the back. That way, and there'll be two of these on Devil Flyer #1. So you'll be getting two villains and two heroes, because I have a lot of characters to go through. So I want each campaign, I want two heroes and two villains, and get these characters out there to people. It helps with copywriting too, so that when you have a binder, you can have your character sheet on one side, in one of these sheets like that you can put the character sheet there, and then you can have the trading cards on the other side of each one. That'll be issued, and there will be a nine issue set of cards on Devil Flyer #1 offered. So I'm excited to be coming up with all this stuff, and I've been working diligently on some bookmarks for a while. Of course, I have a Red Valkyrie auction coming up here pretty soon, but some of these will be offered up. Here's some bogs that I've been working on.
Nice.
And then you can imagine this. This works out perfect. If I had the momentum, and I'll have her, put that in there on this one. I just left a space for it. I work traditionally, don't work digitally. Although I have both digital and traditional artists work on it. And I'll try and get some of my work in there somewhere. But, and they're not all bog, but I've been working on designs that would be good in black and glow in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll probably have and also, what do they call it? Where they have the dark light, like a dark light.
Oh, the black light, yeah.
It'll have like black light colors on some. I haven't exactly figured out how I'm going to do that yet, but I know I want to do black light colors and then glow in the dark. Maybe a combination of both. Like the glow around the moon there or something.
Yeah.
So I've been diligently doing, working a little bit myself, and it helps to go on topicless where we draw. Some of them are in color, like I did one of the killer clown there. Kind of deviated. I gave him a skull nose. It's a little skull for a nose on that one. Some of them are quite detailed. I hope my camera is picking that up. Okay, for everybody. Here's some of, and I'm just now branching off into other characters. Some of them will be like this, horizontal instead of vertical. This is Dirty Joe. He's going to appear in 3 different. Here's another Dirty Joe. I think people will really dig this character. He's going to play prominently, and he's going to be have something to do with the killer clown. Like I say, it's all interlinking. There's Bog staring down, Dirty Joe.
Nice.
So I'm working on it. Here's Slaver. He is a zombie predator. He at first starts preying on the living, but he is turned by the bystander to prey on the dead. And so if you're a zombie, you're food for this guy. There he is coming up out of the grave. Here's a little bit more vicious one.
Ooh, blood.
Yeah, blood. Yeah, spot coloring, where it makes sense. So I've been busy, Been busy, not just planning out campaigns, but drawing and shilling my book, and anything's possible. I picked this up at my local comic book shop, Gary Shipman's Titan Mouse of Power, and it was in the children's section. But when I saw it, because I backed this campaign, I said, "That's awesome that CG projects, or I don't know if he's CG, but Indiegogo projects are finding their way slowly but surely. Some of them into the comic book, into your local comic book shops. I think that's great. I think that's what needs to happen
Yeah,
eventually."
well, I know the guys over at Ollie and them over at 656 have
Mhm.
released Cryptidnals.
Check that
Got
out. That's a mini comic and it's trading card size. I think Apex Comics is crazy for doing that, but it is quite legible and I mean multi panel. Now, my mini comic,
that reminds me of the comic books that used to come in the old 1980s superpowers figures.
yeah, somewhere here, here they are. I have a couple of X-Men that are still sealed up.
Oh yeah,
And you can tell that his is smaller even than it.
yeah.
It's
It's
trading card
tiny.
size. It's crazy how small he does these. But there's two. There's one back to back. There's actually two books in here, and these are probably about 30 years old. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know who issued these, but I do have a few mini comics. I just bought these from him. There's another one back there, and he has available some things. And the Apex will be doing some work for me. I've been working on some heads for my, the Marvel Ditko box, what I call the
Oh yeah,
Ditko box,
the corners. Yeah.
because Ditko was the one that came up with that. I've been working on heads for my characters uh, to stick up there,
Nice.
and I have Vic working on some as well. So yeah, I've been busy. It's been a lot of fun to actually, hold your comic in your hand, howbeit so small, you know, and just thumb through it and enjoy it. You know, it's a thrill. Uh, and I've learned things along the way, just like things by accident, like going magazine size. Um, that yeah, my main book, that's the way it needs to look. So, and the great thing is, uh, making it magazine size, I'll be able to fit the character sheets in the Gemini mailer because it'll be magazine size because this is oversized. I'm like, how am I going to do that? Well, no problem now. It's a little less size than the book, so that solved a problem with this by going so large on the book. So, any questions?
Well,
Oh, I did want to show you. And yes, we'll look at that. But I did want to show you. Can I share screen, or you
sure.
want to do this first?
No, share the screen. Go ahead.
Okay. I want to show you one piece that's going to be in there, and will be a trading card as well. You'll get the best of both worlds. This is uh, Ryan's work that he has a campaign up, Octagon, and
Oh yeah.
this is the sea demon character. And this it will be reproduced like this in the ASHCAN black and white on the second chance offer. I'm going to have 8 pages of new content on that campaign, and then here it is in color,
Oh, that's awesome.
and that will be trading card on the campaign uh, available. But you'll get a black and white version in the reissue, the second printing, and then you'll also get a new. Let me share this with you. You'll get a new cover, which I am going to hand color myself by Peter A. DeLuca. He's
Oh,
a
I know Peter.
self-taught artist in Philadelphia. So this is his devil flyer that he did, sort of impromptu, and letting me use for the cover. And I will hand color this for the second chance. And maybe this will be made into something else down the road as well. but I just love the grittiness of his work. He's going to be doing a story for me. I think he's going to be on my show tomorrow with me. Uh, and we'll be talking more about what he's going to be doing at Momentum Comics for me. And Ryan's going to do some Sea Demon work for me too. I try and play to creator strengths. You know, Ryan has a campaign Octagon that's in the oceans, in the sea, and I thought, hey, he can do Sea Demon. You know, uh, after seeing this, I said Peter can do I have him slated to take over for John. John is 71 years old. He had 2 eye surgeries while he was drawing. So when you know his story and that he drew it to scale, the size of a comic book, I think you'll appreciate his artwork even more.
Oh yeah.
Considering he worked on such a small scale and that he had 2 eye surgeries during that time. Like I said, he did the pencils, the inks, and the colors to and the lettering, not the colors, but the lettering rather. Uh, so I'm excited to be working with Peter and Ryan uh, and other artists. And there's one of my artists that did a Dirty Joe 2-page Dirty Joe story for me.
Hey, good
Who
day,
let?
Hockey.
Yeah,
Who let
someone
Rex
is going
out?
to pay for this mistake. Well, there you go.
Well, now. I've never seen Hockey act a little hostile before. It's kind of fun.
Well, he can get a little feisty. Yeah. Let's play the trailer. Pedro Ang did my trailer for the campaign.
Nice.
It's 30 seconds, so it goes by quick. That's fast. That's momentum for you.
Bum, bum, bum.
Now I can tell you about what the campaign says on it. You know, a tortured soul comes back to Earth to save it, but can he? A devil's weapon is needed to make a difference for good, or is it? Everything might have its price, but what if that price were too high to pay? What would you die for? Devil Flyer, Devil's Weapon has been a passion project for John and I for nearly 2 years to bring you, we hope, a comic experience like no other. And actually, it's been like over 3 years now. Uh, a lone figure who fights his past as much as his future. Devil Flyer takes flight in the city to stop evil from totally taking over with dire consequences to the victor, whomever that may be. The Cy Marco crime family fights a game of death, winner take all, against our Stark hero. Win or lose, heads will roll. We see the high flying Devil Flyer embroiled in a conflict that will take him deeper and closer to a darker conflict and truth about himself and the world he protects. If you like heroic drama and adventure with interlinking characters, conflict, and consequences, you will love Devil Flyer in his first appearance in print. This lead in to the main campaign, which will launch April 30th now on GoFund or Fund My Comic. I keep wanting to say GoFund My Comic. We'll give you a first glimpse of clues to his origin and past. Born a man of conflict in 1899. So how's that for a superhero for you? Born
Been
in the
around a
year
minute.
1899. Many trials, 2 wars. He was in World War One and World War Two, and much time lost. Devil Flyer burst upon everyday Chicago to save a city he does not yet know. The beginning of the Momentum Comics universe starts within the pages of this book. Justice has a dark name, indeed. So
So
you can You can buy a copy of it. I have 9 copies left. You know what, Will? Before I came on, I would have said 10, but I got talking Shadowhawk, and it's like, damn, I haven't set a copy aside for myself yet. So I'm at least going to keep one for me.
Yeah, that would be a thing you might want to do.
Yeah, yeah. My first comic, and I don't even have a copy of it. I'll pay a premium for it later if I can find it. Like I say, there's only 100 printed, and the tchotchkes, the 2 trading cards, the 2 magnets, and the 3 bookmarks, only printed 75 of those. So those are even rarer than the book.
Oh yeah. Well, I used to complain like, when I would back a book and be like, oh, another bookmark. Now I'm in the middle of reading like 10 different books because I'll hit like a point and I'll be like, yeah, I gotta read something else.
Yeah, yeah.
I've had my fill of this for the day. So
So
I'll
you
put it
want to
down.
mark?
So now I've got bookmarks. I've got bookmarks from Mike Jimmy's Life on Quora on
Uh-huh.
my end table. My favorite bookmark is the one I got in my Mavericks collector's box.
Oh man, yeah. Uh Shadowhawk just got in a bunch of Maverick stuff. He got a lunchbox, he got a
Yep.
tumbler, he got the little 3D printed figures, uh the
Yeah,
books.
that's the that was the merch one. I just got that in. So you get like this big gaming mat.
Yeah, he got
That's
that
like
too. Yeah.
this big huge gaming mat. You
And
get a stainless
it's
steel tumbler with the Maverick stuff on it.
yeah.
You get the Mavericks hard drive with the Chinese faction logo printed on the back of it.
And
It's a little,
that's put out by Frequency Girl and Naf,
yeah,
Nefarious.
yeah, and that drive has all his background world building information on it,
Yeah, yeah. Uh
and
Good
got
stuff.
the 3D mech, and there was something else in there, but I can't
I was
remember.
very impressed with the quality of the items that he was putting out. He really knocked it
Oh
out.
yeah, I
Uh,
I sold my first appearance as Jane Foster as Thor, and that
yeah.
first Aaron storyline with
Uh-huh.
her in it that was going for good amount of money. I sold it to a friend of mine, John Ross, who's a longtime comic collector, retired Navy man, and
Hmm.
you know he's now a comic book dealer, but he buys like mostly like high end stuff or stuff that's in demand, and he does like a whole bunch of different shows.
Would you
Um,
like to see some rare comic items?
I would love to.
Because
Be
that's how my channel started, and I still do that today. This is one of the last drawings that John Buscema did. Uh,
Oh wow,
this was the last project that he worked on. This is actually from Blood of My Ancestors, a Superman story. And here
wow,
he's like Samson pushing 2 pillars apart. Uh, Gil Kane passed away, and John Buscema took over on this project, and then he passed away, and Kevin Nolan took over, I think, and completed it. But I have some artwork, uh, and I have a lot of Conan stuff. I have more John Buscema in here, but this one will blow you away. The one and only color guide to Avengers #4, Captain America's first Silver Age appearance.
oh nice. I've got the. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, this is one of the acetate. They also did them on paper, but this is the one and only color guide that's in the world. Now, how
Yeah,
valuable is that?
I can't afford that book, as many of us cannot.
I can't either. I can't either,
Um,
even though I've had an
but
Avengers 1
I
and
do
2.
have the Wizard Ace edition of that book with the
Oh, I
acetate
love the
cover.
Wizard Ice editions. I have most of those, if not all of them. Uh,
I just came across three of them. One was ASM 1, and then ASM 14, but I hated that cover because it had Willem Dafoe in that god awful Green Goblin
Yeah,
armor from the first
yeah,
Spider-Man movie.
yeah, yeah.
And then I got and then I got the Avengers.
For people that don't know, the Wizard Ace editions were you had to order 100 Wizard magazines in your comic store to get one of those, and it had an
Yeah.
acetate cover like that was clear, and the very first one was Creed, which is in all caps comics now.
Mm-hmm.
Trent Canuga. And I have a Creed out of, and when Wizard was going out of business or selling their stock out of their warehouse, I
Yeah.
bought hundreds of those. I have
Wow.
hundreds of the Avengers #4 like that issue, the first Hulk #1 issue, and something else. I bought hundreds of them. Uh, or I have. Let's put it this way: I put a whole long box. Um, over 300, I know, uh, of those Wizard Ace editions. And then I filled in the blanks for the ones I didn't have. But in all those, I got one from Lightning Comics, Creed #1, that has a double acetate cover, has a
Oh.
double cover on it. And I'm going to get that one graded uh, and sell it off at some point.
Yeah,
I love
I
I
was a
love
big
it
fan
every
of
time.
the Ace editions and the Wizard half editions.
Yeah, and they didn't print a lot of them, maybe 3,000, 4,000.
Yeah.
Very low print run. But when they were going out of business, you could buy them for $1 each. And I bought a bunch of them.
Yeah,
But
my
the
L
quality is there, the acetate covers. And not many went out to the stores. Uh, you had to order 100 Wizard Ace editions. Uh, I mean, 100 Wizard magazines just to get one of those. They were retailing at the time for about $15 a piece. The very first ones I bought, I paid $15 a piece for.
Oh yeah.
They did Zorro from Top Comics. They did, I think, from Top Comics as well, the X Files. So they had some licensed products in there too, licensed comics. But those are really nice. Yeah, and the Wizard half editions, I have some of those too. And they were issuing certificate of authenticities with those.
Oh yeah. Shadowhawk says, been using my tumbler for my smoothie every day.
Yeah, he goes
Awesome.
to
Looks good. Good size. And then he says, I got a
it's
bunch of the
larger
Wizard
than
hats.
it's probably 24 ounces. It's big. And the graphics pop on it.
Oh yeah.
He really did an awesome job on that. And the industrial steel around it, there's no
Stainless
need to
steel.
print the
Yeah.
whole because you're dealing with mech suits. There's no need to print all that. So he saves some money doing that, but it fits the project.
Oh
Oh,
yeah. It's so
the
good.
the files, the file like book and everything. Wonderful stuff. He's really into that.
Oh yeah. I've got my Mavericks box right next to me, and I just reread the book like a few days ago
Ah, okay.
for like the
Well,
fifth time.
you
And
know,
then I DM'd him. I go, "Are you done with book 2 yet?
it,
What the hell?"
things like this, like
Oh God. Night.
treasure editions. I know Doc Blaylock would like to do this. I'd hate to ship a bunch of these, uh, you know, but
I got both Superboy and the Legion ones.
things have changed since we were kids. There's no spinner racks. There's no grocery stores that carry comics.
No.
It's sad a kid can't go in and just discover, whoa, a world of comic books
Yeah,
anymore.
it's terrible. I would love to get a spinner rack, but they only sell they sell ones now for your slabbed books.
I have two. We'll talk.
Oh, good.
I don't have them here. They're vintage. They're at least from the 80s. One has a header, one doesn't. I think the other one's spoken by Shadowhawk, but I'll probably put them back here, one up flanking on each side. I have a shower back here. That's my time traveling shower. Everybody wants to know about the shower. What are you doing with a shower?
Oh, I
This is
gotta wash up before I touch any of this valuable merchandise that I have in my room.
Yeah, and I don't use that shower because if that was to overflow, I got a lot of stuff that could get wet.
Oh yeah.
Actually, my father made these uh, bookshelves when we
Oh
were
nice.
kids, and when I was a kid. So that was a long time ago. So I've had those for probably nearly 50 years, which is amazing to think about. And I'm always looking for shelf space because I have a lot of items. I have
I've got
too much stuff.
my girlfriend and I just bought like 7 bookshelves
Wow.
and
Yeah.
like used that this kid that used to be a student of a friend of mine's who's a vice principal in a middle school that my daughter
Mhm.
used to go to. So I'm like, I saw that he knew my friend Glenn. So I asked him, he goes, "Oh, yeah, he's a good kid." Volton.
This is Joe Kubert's first artwork. Volton found in Catman. This is when he was like, what, 13, 14, 15, 16? He was young when he started in comics. This reprints the very first published comic book stories of Joe Kubert in full color that was featured in Catman Comics. Volton, the Human Generator. It's a little fanzine. So there's a little ASHCAN like size book. Let's see how it compares. Whoops, I'm grabbing the wrong book. To Devil Flyer. It's even smaller than the Devil Flyer ASHCAN book.
Yeah.
But things like this that might be hard to find, you can replace. But uh, if you have like one of a kind items like that Avengers guide or original artwork, and my first collection did burn up due to arson in 1997, so I had to start all over. So everything you see here has been collected since 97, about 25 years ago. And I started collecting Pez. I'm a big Pez collector. Uh, let's see, where's my cap? Here we go. Uh, got Pez. So you'll often see me wear that. Got
I
Pez.
actually do because when we were cleaning out boxes, I found an old Luke
Oh, sweet.
Skywalker X-wing Pez,
Oh, cool.
but the glue had let go.
Yeah.
So I go, okay, put this in a box with some of the other Pez's and small things, and then I started eating the Pez last night. I got like a half a stack left.
Yeah. If it's old Pez, don't eat it. They say if you eat too much of it, it'll act as a laxative. This is a custom made one.
Oh,
This is
nice.
They've since issued, but I think they captured, sculpted. It is custom made. You can tell. And I paid $45 for that. What, about a decade ago?
Wow.
For 2 years on eBay, I made Fantasy Pez myself. Here is one that was issued but recalled very quickly because it's SpongeBob underwear, and the parents didn't like that. So it was pulled very quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, tip the head back and
This is
Bob's spongy
this is one
comes
of my
out.
favorite candy dispensers that was given to me recently by Shadowhawk. It had wacky monkey candy, I guess. I've not seen anything like that, but I like candy.
Just the monkey playing the cymbals is hilarious.
Here's a Geico Pez, which is kind of a promo Pez, so you couldn't buy this in the stores, so that's rare. I have some going back to the 50s. They go all the way back as a company to 1927.
Wow.
And the first Pez, the character heads didn't come around till 1952. And there's some debate whether it was Mickey Mouse, and this is his 90th year that came out the other year, Pez. And I have an 80th year Mickey and Minnie as well, some of those. But this is the 90th year, and you see printed on the stem. So that's kind of nice. They had ones that were die cut when I was a kid. Casper. I know I used to have a Casper or two that was die cut, and they had a Mickey Mouse that's die cut. I might even have a Mickey Mouse die cut one that I've bought off eBay. But there's some debate on what the first character was, either Popeye, Mickey Mouse, or Casper. But I'm leaning towards Casper, and I'll tell you why. Because they were roommates in college. The,
Oh,
the Pez guy, and yeah, and this was another one. This one has the candy in it. Oh yeah! So you got
nice.
Kool-Aid candy. Well, I appreciate you having me on. To talk about such things, collectibles and things.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun. Most of mine have been boxed up today. Like
What's
I
that? Your
uh
comics? Of
comics,
course,
collectibles.
yeah. Of course, this is my favorite character, the Beast. Little
Oh,
Bobble,
nice.
Funko bobblehead. He's my favorite character, and not as an X-Man, and the Blue Beast.
Hmm.
Although I like the original X-Men without any hair, and he was gray when he first got hair. He was gray,
Yeah.
the Gray Beast, uh, in Amazing Adventures. Some wonderful Tom Sutton artwork, I believe. But uh, the Beast was in the Avengers, and I can remember reading a panel about the Beast being in the X Men. I was like, "Who's the X Men?" It was like two. I was collecting 2 years before I ever saw an X Men on the stand. It was John Byrne artwork. The artwork was wonderful, but I thought this is a weird looking group. Oh, with Nightcrawler, he looked demonic. And I was
Yep.
like, I don't know if I want to give that a shot. And that was issue X-Men 122, I think, where Colossus is in the danger room, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
trying to push being squeezed. And I didn't buy it. But I'd finally found a grocery store. I think it was oh shoot, I can't remember the grocery store now, but I think it was a Kroger actually. And they had a spinner rack that had X-Men on it. And my regular places, I had never seen for 2 years an X-Men book. And so eventually, I think with issue 127, I started collecting X-Men and was off to the races and knew who the X-Men were at that point. But at first, I thought they were pretty weird, and I stuck with my Avengers. Of course, other things too. New Teen Titans. Love George Perez stuff. His
Oh
stuff
yeah.
got me into comics. And that was man, we lost a lot of greats last year, you know?
Yeah. Over like the last couple of years.
Yeah, Neil Adams and
Yep.
just,
And I just met Neil back in 2019.
yeah. What was your impression?
Um, my impression was good
Yeah.
because of being in the wheelchair and having a press pass.
Yeah.
I got in. They let me in like an hour early
Oh, okay.
on the Friday, so I was just going around and I stopped. I go, whoa! I didn't know he was here, and
Well,
I sat there talking to Neil and his daughter and his number one flunky for about 45 minutes,
oh, okay. Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
now I'm kicking myself in the ass because if that was possible,
Yeah.
um, because I didn't get anything signed by him that day.
Oh, wow. I think the only things that I have signed are production pieces. Actually, DC cover uh, approval covers and things like that are signed by him. Um, Called the Jack Adler collection, and that's probably the most prominent uh, production artwork collection there is out there. He was the archivist. He actually worked on action. He was a colorist on Action Comics #1 for National
Wow.
Comics for DC Comics. So he was with them from the early '50s, I know, and even back in Action Comics #1. Um, I don't know. I'm a little hazy on that. How he worked on Action Comics #1 on the coloring, printing plates, and different things, and then also worked for them like from the early 50s. Some say like 52 on to like about 83 or 4, somewhere in there. But I have one of the, I and my friend probably have one of the largest Adler collections out there. And they're all covers and they were all signed. I mean, they were all saved by Jack Adler, stuff that he liked.
Mm.
Their production pieces. I have the only one in the collection that has all 5 pieces: the color guide, the file copy, the actual DC file copy of the book after it was produced, and the painted cover, and the approval and untrimmed approval cover that has the ads in it as well. All
Well,
5.
one of the people that I went there to interview was Marty Abrams, the guy who invented the world's greatest superhero line for Mego.
Oh, sweet.
Because they had relaunched Mego like the year before, and he was doing like a convention tour, and I feel like I'm addicted because I used to get those and rip them out of the package and play with them, like the Star Trek figures and all the
Uh-huh.
superheroes and stuff.
I
I still have some of the originals.
I still have my Star Trek figures, and I'll tell you why. And one of the Planet of the Apes Mego figures, Zira, the girl,
Yeah.
because I have the Starship Enterprise case, and so they were all kept safe in the case. That's the amazing thing about it. I have a lot of my childhood toys, like I have a section of an eagle from Space 1999, a
Oh
dinky
wow.
dinky toy. I have my early stuff from childhood, but I don't have most of it unless it's been lost through time. Uh, but my collection, and like I said, my collection was like 45 long boxes. It was about 16,000 books. But that's not the great loss. The great, or my school annuals or class ring or my furniture or anything like that. It was the original artwork. Um, I had John Burns Avenger heads page that
Oh
you see
wow.
up in the Ditko boxes, and that's been reproduced thousands of times over the years and will continue to be reproduced. I had some very limited Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff, although I do I my t-shirts were separate, so I do have a 1985 Leonardo glow in the dark t-shirt on in brand new condition,
My
or
my
relatively.
biggest foobar moment in comic collecting had to have been the year that the Turtles came out, and I'm in my LCS that I've been going to since I discovered it when I was in high school.
Uh-huh.
It was my first comic book shop. The original owner sold it to the manager, who is now the owner, and I've worked until I ended up in the chair. I used to work for them, like on and off, kind of like an assistant manager on call.
Right.
Um, and I used to score some stuff, but one week I went in and I'm picking up my stack of books. Uh, I used to spend like $200 a week on comics and supplies and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I go in and there's a bunch of new independent books up on the shelf, and I'm like, "What's that big book?" He goes, "Oh, that's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles." That's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
So I didn't get one, and then I talked to my friend on the phone. He goes, "Please tell me you grabbed that new Ninja Turtle book." I'm like, "Ninja Turtle? That's stupid." He goes, "It's sold out everywhere.
Wow.
You can't get a copy." And I called
Did
them
you?
back and I go, "Can you pull one of those turtle books?" They're gone. He
Wow.
goes, he had a stack of like 10 or 15 of them left when I was there, like later in the day. I
Uh-huh.
left there around 5 o'clock.
Wow.
He closes up at 7.
Yeah.
And before the last hour even hit, he told me that he sold out of all those books.
I
And
could
people
have
are
bought
coming in trying to buy them by the
I
stack.
could have bought one. I bought several books from my the I had a comic book shop, but my due to personal reasons, my partner and it was housed in his facility. And I was still in high school. I was like 17 years old. It was the first comic book here in town. Um, and we had a good clientele for about 8 months or so. And I didn't want to close it, but he had, we had to close it. I couldn't do it by myself. I was still in high school too, and it really takes two. So I said, well, I'll put this on pause. We'll get back to it. And then I started going to the competition. And I had bought nearly a complete collection of X-Men, except for the very early issues. Now, some of them got down into the teens. I know because I had the first appearance of the Mimic, which was in issue 19. And I had nearly a complete collection of Avengers, and they were in great shape, and I was paying about, at that point, even after the burn, X-Men hit a little lull there and was in a dip, and they weren't as sought after. And I was like, man, this is good, solid stuff. Need to get it while it's kind of down in price. And I think I paid about $5 per issue, or less than that, probably. Probably a couple $100 for both of those complete collections that he had gotten. And he later came in with a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1, first printing, in like near mint condition, $175, and I didn't buy it. I thought, boy, I can buy a lot of comics for that. And he had a 2, 3, and 4 in the back issue box, and I wasn't sure, like you, I wasn't sure about it, so I bought issue 2, read it, loved it, got issue 3 and 4 the next day, and I said, put me down from it from now on, and I got 5, 6, 7 on, and was a big, hooked on at least the books, and the books were before the cartoon came out, before the Hasbro toys came out, and so I was a fan of Ninja Turtles almost from the beginning. But
yeah, I had never even heard of X-Men until Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends had that one X-Men episode, because Juggernaut was running through New York City.
Yeah.
The one where they gave Wolverine Hockey's voice, and he skewered up a bunch of fruit off the table.
Were you a Marvel or DC guy primarily,
DC.
or independent? Yeah, you were DC. Okay,
I was So I was born in '69. So when I was
you're a mere baby. I was in California in '69 on a vacation.
So when I was like 3, they started showing in our area. They started showing the original Scooby-Doo for 30 minutes in the morning, followed by one 30-minute episode of the Adam West Batman show. And that was it. Cesar Romero is still my favorite Joker. Matter of fact, I've got his autograph.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. I got to meet Adam West. He was a lovely man. I got to talk to him for about 10 minutes. And if my then wife hadn't been with me, I would have spent an hour with him. He was all alone sitting at the table of a Blockbuster Video in Memphis, Tennessee. And I went over there specifically to meet him. And I got his autograph on a T-shirt. And that T-shirt has disappeared. I think my ex-wife maybe took it. I don't know what happened to it. It just disappeared one day. And I noticed it immediately because I had it hanging on a hanger right above my bed, of all places.
I got to meet them, but I couldn't really talk to them because the line was starting to form.
Yeah.
But I didn't have. It was like I could afford a ticket to go and like window shop, but that's all I could do. But
I wish I got to say hi to
him. I got to say hi to him and Bert. So.
Oh, I've never met Burt Ward, but I'd like to. I know he makes his own brand of dog food and sells it, so he's quite the entrepreneur. But it's lovely to get to talk to your heroes, and especially ones where I was like 2 years old, 2 years old watching Batman and remember it very fondly. And I just thanked him for, I said, you are some of the earliest memories that I have, you know, uh, and they're good memories. And I just thanked him for that. Same thing with George Perez when I met him. I said, you are what really got me, your artwork was what got me uh, uh, collecting comics. And actually, since I'm talking about that, I have a couple production pieces here from that very first Avengers issue that I collected. If you'd like to see them.
Of course I would.
Okay. All right. Well, I have a lot of AC comics too, Bill Black stuff as well. All right. So it's a Rich Buckler cover. It's Avengers 147. So I have, and when I started collecting production artwork, I didn't expect to be collecting stuff that got me started in comics. I actually have production artwork to my very first thing Marvel I ever got was this right here back in 1974, I think.
Oh, Vampire Tales.
Vampire Tales #5, and it has a an edited brief origin of Morbius in it from Amazing Spider-Man 102, Gil Kane artwork.
Nice.
It has artwork by Dick Garagano, he's been dead 19 years ago. Just a couple days ago was the anniversary of his death. Val Merrick artwork, who would do the Living Mummy, and so it has some great artwork in it. I begged my father for that. I need this, and my later thing, my first comic was Werewolf by Night Annual #2, where he squares off against Frankenstein. Don Perlin artwork on the cover of that one had a satanic cult with a upside down cross. Now we're Christians. My last name's Christian. And so just like my father, my grandmother's like, yeah, I begged her for it. She bought it for me. But I still wasn't collecting. I didn't realize, even though it said next issue, it never clicked with me till Avengers. And then I bought this 147 and came back a couple weeks later and found 148 by chance and said, oh, this is the next issue to that one I bought a couple weeks ago. I said right then and there, I'm going to collect this from now on. And I did. So here's the cover by Rich Buckler. It's not that great a cover, to tell you the truth. When I read the dialogue, I must have read it over. I didn't know who the Vision was. He looks very villainous here, so I thought he was threatening the woman running away, which is Scarlet Witch, his wife. And then the Beast there, if you look at him, I thought he looked a little back. I knew Batman because he's got the little, things up there, his hair. But not, I really don't think this is one of the greater Rich Buckler covers, really. I mean, you had the Squadron Supreme there in the background, and you had the mob. But yeah, I just think it's not one of his greater covers, but it changed my life because of the interior artist, and had one of the weaker inkers, I think, Vince Coletta. Now that's controversial, but bam, I opened it up and saw this, the Beast, and Hellcat, and all that classic Avengers, and then of course Hyperion and Dr. Spectrum and Lady Lark and Golden Arrow back there, and just Crisis on Other Earth. Well, right now I'm reading Crisis on Infinite Earth from DC.
Yes.
The trade paperback, which I've had this, but most of my my collection burned up. So I was glad to pick this up. this was a win here. $35 trade paperback. I picked it up at my local comic book store. $10.
Awesome.
Well worth it. So
If there's one around you, the coolest store to shop at that's not a comic book store but has lots of comics has got to be Ollie's.
Don't have an Ollie's. Here's a production piece for reprint, but there's used some classic Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh yeah,
with the lizard. There's your lizard representation, Lorenzo. If you get in here, where crawls the lizard? Yeah, Lizard's one of my favorite characters. You know, villains from DC. I also picked this up for $10. Even though I had the complete in the floppies, Avengers Forever.
Yeah, I'm trying to replace because I'm like dwindling. I'm dwindling down my collection.
Oh, are you?
And I'm getting rid of like a lot of stuff, but a lot of stuff like that series, I'd be missing like one issue, and then the only way for me to get it at like a halfway decent price was to buy like a full set. Oh yeah, my favorite.
Now, I also picked this up, and Jack Kirby is in this book. I'd heard about this book on my show, and then lo and behold, I found a copy. Knights of the Fifth Dimension. And there's Jack Kirby on the cover. So he's in the comic, and I picked this up for $10, you know. And this was the cheapest of all of them. That other one was $30 book as well, and this one was a $20. So I got 3 good pickups there, you know, for $10 a piece. It is possible. Now, one thing I'm doing, you remember this? Here's a great beast cover. I had this back in the day. Fun and Games.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever do these?
No.
And this is the one
I had something like that, but I think it was like a DC one. But I would just look at it and trace it with like an eraser. Oh, the 25th anniversary covers.
Yeah, I went up to Chicago. My very first was convention in '83, and then I think in Memphis, Tennessee, and I met at another little convention. I met Joe Staten and Bob McLeod, and who was doing New Mutants at the time, and he was co-creator. I'm having Dillard, you know, Dillard draws.
Oh yeah.
He's doing me, although I'm going to have him do it all the way around, all in momentum characters, so that I can put my own pinups with this framing around it with my own characters. So I went to Chicago in '85 and '86, and that was '85 was DC Comics' 50th anniversary, and 86 was Marvel's 25th anniversary. So it was a great time to go. Met Stan Lee in '86. I met Julius Schwartz, who was, you know, quite aged even at that time.
Oh yeah.
Although, you know, healthy and whatnot, would live on. Tank Ferret grew up with a lot of these people. Julius Schwartz was like an uncle to him. So
yeah, when he was on, we would just like, and I was like, every like 30 seconds, I was like,
Brian Brafogel. He knew Brian Brafogel, the great Batman artist. I have a collection of Action Comics #1 books. I'm trying to collect all these, so I have them handy here just to show. And I do have that homage to Action Comics #1. Without that, you know, none of this would be here. Of course, there's where he's picking up the car. So I had Vic do, you know, pick up the car above you, except it's a junk out car in a junkyard. And then here's a reprint of that. And these things go for about $50 on eBay.
I was shocked. Like even like the DC Silver Age things that were like framed up and had like a silver foil stamp on them.
There's Supergirl.
I've got a Sam Vera.
Todd McFarlane.
Yeah, his homage. Yeah, I
You
got
know,
that.
and
Sam Vera did a homage to that on his and George's book.
number 800 of Action Comics.
Yeah, I got that one.
I love just to have them side by side. You know, it's
I've got
great.
a copy of Underdog that
No,
that that
underdog.
has the
Yeah.
Action Comics one homage.
There's no need to fear. Underdog is here.
I love that cartoon.
I have an underdog. Albeit it's about that big. It's a underdog lunchbox, but it's only about that big.
Oh, one of the minis. Yeah,
Yeah, one of the minis. Uh-huh.
I've got a Mighty Mouse vinyl figure,
Oh, yeah.
like vinyl statue and lunchbox that I just listed online to sell the other day.
Uh, Back there, I somewhere here, I have a Captain Caveman
Oh,
vinyl
nice.
figure. Remember Captain Caveman?
Oh yeah. Well, here's something to show. Where is it? There's my button. I just got this in the other week.
Oh, yeah. Is that Savage Sword? Yeah.
Number 2.
Number 2. Wow. Who did the cover on that one? Frank Bruner? Or it doesn't look like Frank Bruner, but
I
does it
don't
tell?
think so. There's no
Huh?
there's no signature on the cover.
You know, that's what needs to come back, Will, in comics is painted covers like Dale and Gold Key had, and that like these Savage Sword of Conans.
Yeah, and it's of course a wraparound cover.
Oh, sweet. That's even better. Yeah, and that's great shape. That's great condition. Yeah, look at the colors pop off that. I think that's Ernie Chan inking. You can
I
tell Ernie Chan.
I picked this up in like a half price sale for like 10-12 bucks.
Wow, that's a good pickup. Yeah, absolutely. Most of
What?
mine are from the latter part because I was trying to identify John Buscema preliminary drawings. What he would do is he would do a layout preliminary drawing, then he would put that on his light table, and then he would do the finished artwork.
The
And
cover is by Earl Horema,
yeah, I thought it was a Horum, but I didn't want to say so. Yeah,
and interior artists are
he's great. I love his stuff.
John Buscema and Alfredo Acala.
Oh, okay. Alfredo, I just he was in some early stuff. I think he did Turok, not Turok. It was the DC character in the 80s. Arak, Son of Thunder.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I have a complete run of that, and they actually had an annual too.
There's all three
Now,
staples.
look at those colors just pop.
Yeah. For a book this old, I remember
Yeah.
we were the OK Boomer show on Thursday nights,
Uh-huh.
which is Lorenzo's favorite show on my channel.
Oh yeah. Now, do you ever go? Have we met over there? Because every now and then I'll go into Lorenzo.
I'm a wrench over there, but we film like the same. We go live like the same time.
Okay. Yeah.
But I pop over once in a while, and I got like a few. I got like 3 or 4 subs from the other week, so I finally hit 300. And I look today, I'm down like another 2 people.
Lorenzo was actually my first backer on my ASHCAN.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
he's the first mod on my channel, but
he's a great link master.
Oh yeah,
you know, he sends out those links, and it's
yeah, he's come on a few of my Wednesday night shows, and
I think I stirred Shadowhawk up. He said down below, "You better not forget me." I think that's when we were talking about the spinner rack.
Yeah,
because I was like, yeah. I at one time I told him, might get you one of those spinner racks, and I'm like, we work out a deal. He traded me some of the burn X-Men that I lost in my fire.
So there's some of my comics.
How many do you think you have?
Well, the other week I sold 14 long boxes of fluff
Oh, wow. So I would say that's probably about 16, 15, 16,000.
Easy, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Because,
again, against the front wall over here, there's
yeah.
uh there's two long boxes and two short boxes behind me. That is nothing but the Incredible Hulk.
Wow. Do you have the Incredible Hulk Wizard Ace edition?
I do not.
Well, you DM me your address and I will try and find one for you. I have nearly a whole, half a long box full of those things. I'd
Oh,
be
that'd be
glad
awesome.
be glad to send you one.
I subscribed to the Marvel Pop of the Month a few years ago because it was Incredible Hulk #1.
Uh-huh.
So it's got Bruce busting out, well, a tiny Bruce busting out, and then big
Yeah,
gray Hulk behind him.
right.
And
And they also did an homage to that on She-Hulk #1, her first appearance
mhm.
in the Savage She-Hulk #1. I think that's a key issue that's probably undervalued. I've got 2 copies. That was one that burned up my fire, and sadly, that's the one that I got signed by Stan Lee. And I
That
have
sucks.
at least one Stan Lee signature now on a book, although it's personalized to somebody else, called Mad Cat, um, and it's a trade paperback. Uh, but any Stan Lee signature is great. Um, and I had some Jack Kirby's, some of the old ones where they used to open up and
And they
sign it
signed at the bottom of the page.
the
Yeah.
bottom by the indica, right? In and press it and etch it into with that dreaded pen. Not like today where they have silver, or gold or something
Yeah.
like that. Put it on the cover. I've seen actually some graded books that were signed by Stan Lee on the back cover, so it wouldn't interfere with the artwork.
Yeah. Who
That's
cares about
that's a
the
pretty
ad?
good ideal. That's the best of both worlds.
Yeah. Who cares about the ad?
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
the. I know, like all these stores that like get in line with 40 or 50 books for somebody to sign. They all got
uh-huh.
those backdoor pajama flap bags on them. So it's got like the window where they want them to sign.
Yeah, uh-huh. Yep.
And I'm like,
There's a lot of people making art out of that. We want it signed
mhm.
in this spot, you know.
Yeah,
Otherwise
I'm like,
yeah.
they'll just
So
go across the whole cover.
yeah, right over Spider-Man's face or something,
Yeah.
It ruined the aesthetic of the book.
Like I've got a Batman 880 graded I think it's like a 9.6, and it's triple signed by the whole team.
Wow.
Um
What is your worst horror story about collecting? Because that jogged my memory. I'll go first. I thought, man, I am so good. There's no need to take this tape off this bag. And it was, so I'm taking out the comic and it goes bloop on the logo. Now, that's not the bad part. The bad part was it was a Batman #7. Oh! No, no. Thousands of dollars worth of damage. It had survived, 70 years at that point or something. And I had to, that's my horror story. And I have a few others as well, but uh whew, that hurt. That hurt.
one day I was working at the store, and we'd always have people come in and be like, they start going through the back issue bin because we had like hundreds of thousands of back issues.
Yeah.
And every time somebody would come in, no matter whether they've been there once or 1,000 times, we tell them, if you need a book opened to examine it better, just bring it up to the counter and we will open it for you. Guy's like, yeah, no problem. Thanks. 3 seconds later, we hear, oh, fuck. he had taken the first appearance of Mysterio off the wall,
Oh crap.
opened it up,
Oh crap.
and stuck the tape to the middle of the cover of the book by accident. And then refused to pay for it.
No, hell no. Well, that's fine if you want two broke legs.
Nope. We had a friend that was a local police sergeant
Yeah.
and a comic collector, so he knew us. He knew us all like very well,
Yeah.
and he was like 8 feet tall, like 7'6" or something.
Wow. Real
He was a
imposing.
he was a huge dude.
Yeah.
Uh,
Sasquatch.
yeah,
Skunk ape.
and this guy goes, "I'm not paying for that. It's damaged." He goes, "You damaged it. That's why you're paying for it."
Yeah.
And he swore at us and threw everything in his hands around the store, just like picked it up, threw it up in the air, ran out the door, jumped in his car as we took a picture of his license plate,
There you go.
and they pulled him in. We identified him. He goes,
Yeah.
and he damaged all of these books on the ground too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Slapped the cuffs on him, took him away. They had to file like a full complaint downtown, and
Yeah.
which was literally around the corner. So
Right.
good idea. Damaging a book, and back then that book was still like only like a few $100,
Yeah. Yeah.
not like now.
Yeah. Not like now. Yeah. It's really sad that things survive decades only to be, dropped by you. I mean, accidents happen, but some accidents are preventable. That's, I guess, what was so bad about my Batman #7. That tape does not come off that old paper. The old paper comes with it. It's oh yeah, there's some gold key
I
Tarzans.
bought
Yeah,
I bought a ton of these old Tarzans.
yeah. I have a few of
Um,
those myself.
I only paid like $2 or $3 a piece.
How many do you reckon you have?
I can't count that high.
Yeah.
Man, I can only count up to 21 if I'm naked. What the hell?
I guesstimate that I've got about 30,000 myself. And
Um,
and that's since collecting 1997. I have more now than I did in my first collection, which
I
was
would
about
say I
16.
have the equivalent currently of like 30 long boxes, 30 or
30
40
long
long boxes.
boxes. So that would probably be about 32,000 ish, somewhere in there, over 30,000. So about where my collection is probably.
And 2 weeks ago, I had another 14 long boxes.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing. Oh yeah, Neil Adams. Yeah.
Yep. Adventure Comics.
Oh look, Superman's son. Isn't that supposed to be his son?
No, this was
The
way
fatal,
back in the day. They did Superboy,
yeah, the Fatal Five, of
the Fatal
course.
Five. Yep.
Right. But now I thought that he was supposed to be Superman's son or something like that.
No,
No.
they did that at one point, like in World's Finest.
Oh, okay.
Like I've got a World's Finest where it's Batman and Superman making their sons
Yeah.
dig their own graves because they're going to
An
kill them.
imaginary story, they used to
Yeah.
call them. Yeah.
Yep.
And now they call them Elseworld story.
Yeah, this is like
The Fatal Five is some of the Legion's best villains. I mean,
oh yeah,
I love Mono that he can put his hand up against the flat surface of the planet and destroy the whole planet. That's the power of his hand.
and Validus.
Yes, Validus.
Um,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
they're fighting his Brainiac 5 and a couple other members of the Legion.
If you think
This was
about
my
it,
first Superboy and the Legion was my first team book.
and it's probably Jim Shooter artwork. I mean, story and artwork because he did some of those around that time. And he was
And I
only like 30.
grabbed a solo issue of the original Karate Kid, not
There
Ragnarok.
you go. Yeah. And that's 1976 because the bullet's right in the middle
Yep.
of the cover.
And I also grabbed an issue 10
Bicentennial year. We're coming up on 75 years.
of The
The
Demon.
Demon. Yeah. Jack Kirby artwork.
My friend that bought the Thors off me, um, he he traded for something else with me,
Mm-hmm.
and gave me basically gifted me a Mr. Miracle #1 and a Demon #1.
Mm.
You know,
There's do you have a Sandman #1 by Kirby?
no.
There's a color variant to that cover, like a magenta instead of like a true purple or something. There's a variant, and that's highly sought after and worth a lot more. And all it was like an ink difference. I have one Thor that there's a coloring error on the cover. I don't know what happened with the coloring on that, but it would be interesting to see if you could even get that slabbed, graded. Do you have any graded books in your collection?
Yeah, like the Detective 880,
Okay.
the first jock cover there, is graded 9.6. I've got a Pirello Vampirella that's a 9.8.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I've got like one or two others. I sold like a bunch of them because I was like, why am I doing this? I'm a reader. I like to read stuff. It
Yeah.
doesn't even it does this book doesn't even give credits of.
That's what Shadowhawk says, is that comics are meant to be read, not slabbed where you can't read them. And I'm like, yeah, but if you're going to sell them and you want the most value, you want to see a rare Ethan Van Sciver slabbed book. The first Salamandroid cover, 8.0, and I don't think it's been pressed. Might even, if I broke it open and had it regraded.
Yeah, I haven't bought any of his stuff since the original Cyber Frog.
This is from 97, Hall of Heroes. And Salamandroid's on the back here on the ads of even the variant covers, because this is the one with his first cover. He looks a lot different than what he did, Of course,
Yeah, because I've got the original like 0 through 3.
Shadowhawk's still here. I knew. He says I hate slabs. I got this for a pretty good deal though. 145.59. I always write what I give for things now. I didn't used to do that, but then when it comes to reselling it, which ultimately somebody's going to have to do, I want them to know how much I paid for it. So that'll give them some indication on worth.
My friend John only buys graded books online.
Uh-huh.
Because at least that way it's guaranteed. But
right.
The guy who calls himself the Golden Age Guru made an announcement on social media the other week that there's a bunch of falsified CGC books going around.
Yeah. Well,
got it raw in a 9.4 easy.
Well, you won't know till you get it slabbed, will you? Key books, I would say, definitely get slabbed. If you're not, you're leaving. I believe, like Chuck Rosansky from Maha Comics, you're leaving money on the table. Sometimes hundreds of dollars. Up here, I have one that I'm going to have slabbed. Brave and the Bold. I forget the number. It's the first Silver Age Hawkman.
Oh yeah,
and it needs a pressing. but it is in very nice shape for the age. That's a 1962 comic book. If you think about it, first time Joe Kubert had drawn him since the 50s, because he used to draw Hawkman a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a prime candidate. I picked that up for $140 in the raw, a sight unseen. She had a picture up there on eBay, but she said you will. I said, what's the condition? You'll be very happy with it, and I was, and that's why I even got that book for $140. I had one other bidder against me. He wasn't willing to go higher, but if I had that slabbed, the difference is several $100s. You
Mm-hmm.
know, if I had that Preston slab, that would be an $800 book all day long. But it needs to be slabbed. Otherwise, I could sell it in the raw and might get 300 or 400. You know,
Yeah.
so
Never know where the old shadow
why
is.
leave $400, $500, $600 on the table?
Bah,
Bah,
humbug.
humbug. Yeah, he hates it. That when he doubles down like that, I know he's just joking, and I'm with him. I do think books are meant to be read, but at the same time, when he doubles down like that, I want to get all of these slabbed, every freaking one of them. That just
Just out of
that
spite.
just makes me want to slab everything.
Like I've got books I want to slab. Like I've got
That's one right there.
yeah. Oh yeah.
That's one right there. That's a signed Savage Dragon 9.8, and it's one of those distressed. It's got the original Daredevil in blue, and Lee
Mm-hmm.
Gleason's Daredevil, um, uh, with the claw, and he's coming down with a big fist because he's oversized. It's a great cover, and that's why I bought that, because I'm not a big Eric Larson fan. I met Eric Larson when he was a zero, when nobody. He was shilling his first book, his first appearance of Savage Dragon in Megaton Comics, and sitting there and selling it for $2. I wouldn't buy it.
No,
It looked interesting, but I was into getting Golden Age stuff, original artwork, bunch of Ninja Turtle stuff. I bought Don Chin's radioactive black belt
black belt
hamsters
hamsters.
and the Trolls. I can't remember. They were kind of like the Three Stooges. I
Yep.
don't know if you
There was the Trolls, and there was also
Kangaroos,
Fish Police.
the Fish Police too. They came back. Yeah.
Um, I've got books that I want to get slabbed because I was during the Dark Horse era of Star Wars.
Heresy. Shadowhawk would say you're a heretic. Books are meant to be read.
That's right. But on a whim, I was buying like basically every like Star Wars book that Dark Horse was putting out because I was enjoying them all.
Yeah.
Right. And I go,
Early
oh,
Punisher and Predator stuff,
mm-hmm.
and Sin City stuff.
Oh yeah, matter of fact, I just found the original Sin City toy, which is Marv in the electric chair, and if you put the 9-volt battery in, you can flip the switch on the electric chair and electrocute. But they put out one for the cartoon Clone Wars.
Oh wow, yeah.
Clone Wars #1 graded is like $1,300 or $1,400.
Wow.
It's the first appearance in comics of Ahsoka Tano.
Okay. Wow. That's amazing, isn't it?
And I guarantee it's going to go up even more. My issue with getting books graded,
yeah,
is that they don't charge you a flat fee.
A percentage.
Why are you getting a percentage of a book I'm not going to sell, motherfucker?
Yeah, and I won't go with CGC. They're supposed to be the standard. I'll go with CBCS for one. I think their cases are better. There's some debate about that, and I've checked them all out. I have a graded, although it's mislabeled. It's one of those off, and if I got it reslabbed, I don't know if it would come back a 4.5, but I have a Fantastic Four #13, first appearance of the Watcher or the Red Ghost and the Super Apes. Wonderful story. The only time that Steve Ditko inked Jack Kirby, except for the cover of number 14, which was a Submariner cover. But that was the only time within Fantastic Four that he inked Jack Kirby. And I loved some Dicto inks over Jack Kirby.
Well, my earliest X-Men now is number 28, first appearance of Banshee.
Okay. I had back down to like number 19, the first appearance of the Mimic at one time. And now I think I have a X-Men 17. I think that's my earliest X-Men.
I think I actually have one earlier than the 28. It's when they used to like solo one of the team as like a solo, and they put his like name, his or her name or logo on the cover.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And feature them on the cover. And it was the first Silver Age appearance of Red Raven.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And it was like an Angel story. So it was
Yeah.
Angel and Red Raven. And it was the first appearance of that Golden Age character. And only he was a one and done, and then it was gone.
Well, it's been fun. I could talk comics with you forever, but
you got another stream to go on.
I have another one, and he's been going for the last 45 minutes, and he's working on my stuff. So
we're gonna cut this because we'll just keep talking forever. And
absolutely.
Check out the open campaign for Devil Flyer
for a little bit longer. Yeah.
Not for long.
No, not for long. No, I only have 9 copies.
There's only 9 copies of the first print.
Yeah.
Of the ASHCAN available. Once they're
second
done.
Print. So I'm working on the second print campaign now, which will have 8 pages of additional content, some new tchotchkes, a new cover and back cover, and then of course Devil Flyer #1, the whole complete story of all, 6 stories in all. I've had fun working on the short stories compared to the long, story that I did for Devil Flyer. So those stories can contract, and by, somebody that didn't get a lot of love in the first issue may get a bigger story next time because I'm going to cut one title. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to go away forever, but I am going to do a countdown, and eventually at the climax of the arc, it will have just become one title, which is Devil Flyer, one story. So they'll be absorbed. The characters will be absorbed. He's gathering up all these superhero types and there'll be other sub stories that go along too. Develop. It's going to be a fun ride. I can't wait to write all of it and get it out there to people.
Very cool. And that new campaign launches April 30th.
April 30th on Fund My Comic, absolutely. Barring that they approve it, which I don't see why they wouldn't. I'm putting it together, and I'm putting up the ASHCAN Second Chance up there as well.
Very cool.
Now that may or may not make it out before Devil Flyer #1. The main thing is to get the main campaign going because people are chomping at the bits to hopefully to get a complete story, because I kind of left them on a cliffhanger with the preview.
Yeah, and in this day of binging everything,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure people that got the book and loved it are already chomping at the bit.
Well, it was nice to meet you in person, Will. I appreciate you having me on. I really do. I hope.
Well, thanks for coming on.
Come back after I launch.
The other. Once you go live, hit me up. I'll have you come back so we can go through the whole campaign and.
Awesome.
See some artwork that people can buy, and all kinds of.
And just so you know, I know Doc Blaylock said he got a couple of backers out of coming on last week with you. So
yeah, one of them was me.
Well, there you go.
But yeah, I think like not including me, there were like four, maybe five other people that backed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody backed again.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. I know some people said that they were going to back it, just, I guess, wait till payday. I don't know. Most of us
Yeah.
live from payday to payday.
like the whole country right now. Yeah.
Like the whole country. Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
So
Uh,
Devil Flyer, Rex, thanks so much for coming on. We'll do this again soon. And
Zach-
everybody go check out the campaign and get yourself some Devil Flyer.